Alright lads, welcome back to another video, and once again we're back with another best player at their respective club video. I said yesterday just before I started my championship one that I would be uploading another one to do with the Scottish Premiership teams today, and as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, this is indeed this video. I'm going to go through in the same fashion that I did yesterday every Premiership team and tell you, in my opinion, who is the best player at that club. So it's a pretty simple concept, and since you watched that video yesterday, I'm not going to insult your intelligence by going over the concept over and over and over again. You know what I'm going to do. Let's get into it. Bada bang, bada bosh. So starting off at the top, Glasgow Celtic. I've chosen Odsonne Edouard as Celtic's best player in my opinion. There's obviously a barrel load of players at Celtic that I could have chosen here. They've got the best team in the land pretty much, and they've got pretty much the best players in the land. A lot of shouts on Instagram stories when I put up the polls for this lot of teams were Ryan Christie, James Forrest. There was a couple of shouts for defenders as well. I think pretty much every Celtic player had been chosen at one point. It really is difficult to try and please everybody with who I pick here, but I think I chose the one that at the end of the day a lot of people were going with as well. So as you've seen, the best player at Celtic in my opinion is also Edouard. I just think he's got so much skill, so much prowess, technique. He's able to finish chances when they're given to him. He's a top quality player in my opinion, and he will go on to great things, I think. Just like Moussa Dembele has pretty much. I think they're just basically carbon copy players in a way, because they've both come from similar backgrounds, French players, they've both got similar traits to them, and they've both had fantastic Celtic careers. Moussa Dembele's obviously moved on into the French league and is playing for Olympique Lyonnais right now and is linked with clubs like Manchester United. I think Odsonne Edouard will eventually go on to be that similar type of player who gets linked with clubs like that, and who's to say Celtic won't get a fantastic fee for him when he does eventually move on. But for now, he's the best player at Celtic Football Club in my opinion. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments below. Now next up, Glasgow Rangers, the other side of the big two in Glasgow. I've went for Alfredo Morelos. Obviously the arguments that you could have against Alfredo Morelos is his temperament and the fact that he actually this season hasn't scored as much goals as Jermaine Defoe scored in the league. So you could question that side of it, but in my opinion Alfredo Morelos is fantastic quality and will eventually move on to bigger and better things than Rangers. Obviously that's debatable in itself. His temperament does have to improve, despite it improving last season when he just didn't get as much red cards, but he performed extremely well in Europe and got a decent amount of goals in domestic football. So I do think Alfredo Morelos is still the best player at Rangers Football Club. They have just signed Hadji on a permanent deal. This time next year I could be saying Hadji's the best player at Rangers, but for now it's Alfredo Morelos in my opinion. Next up, Motherwell FC. Now this was one that I initially had one player written down, and then I remembered, wait, they've got that player, and I can't turn down the fact that this guy is the best player at that club despite his injury. You know by now, it's David Turnbull. Now, I was going to pick Declan Gallagher, that is just the sheer truth of it, and then as I said, I remembered that David Turnbull is there and now coming back to full fitness. David Turnbull is obviously the best football player at Motherwell. You just can't deny the ball skills that guy's got, the technique on the ball, the amount of potential that he's got as well. It's staggering. I've went for him, and I'm sure a lot of yous will agree because I've seen a lot of that in the Instagram stories when I put it up. Next up, we're going up north to Aberdeen, and I've went for the goalkeeper, Joe Lewis. Another one that I did find quite hard to decipher who really was the best player at that club in my opinion. I initially had thoughts on Niall McGinn, but then I couldn't really remember periods where he was absolutely fantastic this season. A lot of people were saying Sam Cosgrove, but is that really just because he scores the goals that he scores and he's not actually that great a football player? There's obviously shouts for defenders as well. Scott McKenna gets Scotland caps, but I really don't think he's one of the best players at the club. So I went for Joe Lewis. They keep a lot of clean sheets, Aberdeen, and Joe Lewis does make a lot of good saves throughout the course of a season. He's done it for quite a few years at Aberdeen now, and he's been given the captain's armband on the odd few occasions as well. So I do really rate Joe Lewis as a goalkeeper. I said in one of the videos, I think last week or something, that I do believe he's one of the best goalies in the Scottish Premiership outside of the top two. Joe Lewis best player at Aberdeen in my opinion. Once again, since it's a wee bit of a controversial one, let me know in the comments below what you think. Now into Livingston's squad, and I've went with the player that has really proved me wrong and is now getting linked to moves to bigger clubs, and in my opinion rightfully so. It's Lyndon Dykes. Now, he's been a fantastic target man figure for Livingston, and I mentioned in a video last week once again that he's just been one of those players that Livingston thrive off of having, that target man player that can cause defences hassle and really fits into the model that Livingston want to go by. He's fitted right in there at Livingston, coming from Coon of the South where I really didn't rate him at all. Maybe I was wrong in doing so, but if you've got a different opinion, let me know in the comments below. Now, St Johnstone, one that I did find really difficult because I don't really think St Johnstone had that many fantastic players throughout the course of this season. They have done really well to finish where they have on the points per game ratio. They finished in the top 6, although a bit debatable because they never spent one day in the top 6 for the full season. However, I digress. For St Johnstone, I chose the defender Jason Kerr, and as I said, it was mainly because I just didn't really see many other standout players, and I do really like Jason Kerr as a defender. You can let me know about this one in the comments below. I've most likely gotten it completely different from the majority of people that would have chosen a different player. I went for Jason Kerr mainly because of my opinion on him, but let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm assuming the general consensus might be different on this one. Moving on to Hibs, I've went for the midfield maestro in my opinion, one player that can pick out a pass from anywhere on the pitch on his day. Scott Allan. He's found his feet at Hibernian a bit. It was quite strange to me to not see more people pick him in the Instagram polls that I did. A lot of people were going for Martin Boyle, and I can see why. Martin Boyle is a fantastic player. He scored a fantastic goal against Dundee United this season in the Scottish Cup game at Tannadice. But I ended up going for Scott Allan because I just believe the guy is the best player at Hibernian despite Martin Boyle's talents. I think Scott Allan, as I said, on his day, is the best player at Hibernian. Kilmarnock. One that again, other people were picking different players for. A couple of people went for Chris Burke. I've seen Alan Power quite a lot as well. But I ended up going for Stuart Findlay. Again, like the Jason Kerr one, more of just a personal opinion on this one. I really do like Stuart Findlay. I think he's a great defender. And ultimately I just went for him over the others because I think I've seen more from him to believe that he's the best player at Kilmarnock. If you've got a different opinion, let me know, and let me know why as well, and why it wouldn't be Stuart Findlay, because I'd be interested to know different people's opinions on the ones that I don't really know if I've got 100% correct. Now, St Mirren Football Club, and I thought there was only really one option for this one, but I didn't actually see as many people pick this player as I would have expected. A lot of people went for John Obika. I haven't. I've went for Vaclav Hladky, the goalkeeper. One of the best outside of Rangers and Celtic. I said this in last week's episode of Aye or No, and I still firmly believe that Vaclav Hladky has to be the best player at St Mirren in my opinion. I think a lot of St Mirren fans will be sad to eventually see him go because I believe his contract's up this summer, and once he goes that'll be a massive gap left in St Mirren's goals. He is the best player at St Mirren Football Club. Again in my opinion, but I think I'm right on that one. Ross County, I've went for the baller himself, a baller, Josh Mullen. I've basically chosen this guy because I just think he's such a fantastic talent, such a quality football player, just knows what he's doing with a football at his feet, can score fantastic goals for any sort of range, and he's got skills to pay the bills, if you want to say that saying. I'm really impressed with Josh Mullen as a football player, and he will go on to better things in my opinion. So Josh Mullen for me is definitely the best player at Ross County. Second last, Hamilton Academical, and a player that is actually looking like leaving the club, and it's very unfortunate for Hamilton because in my opinion, as you're about to hear, best player at their club and one that really fitted into their system and the way they like to play. I went for Alex Gogic, the hard in the middle of the midfield, and a player that, as I said, fits right into the mould of a Hamilton Academical team. One of the main reasons why I believe they've stayed up in the last 2 seasons. He is probably due a move to a bigger club, but ultimately Hamilton fans and Hamilton as a club will be gutted to lose a player of the quality of Alex Gogic. And last but not least, we're moving down to Hearts, the team that's caused so much controversy within this whole time period of Scottish football. However, the best player at their club, in my opinion, again another wee kind of controversial one because a lot of people weren't really picking this player, but then some people were. There's a massive caveat to this one. It has to be when he's fully fit. It's Steven Naismith. I've went for Steven Naismith simply due to the fact that I just believe that when he's fully fit, he's got the brains and the knowledge and the experience, and he can score as well. So I've ultimately went for him as the best player at Hearts. There's not been a hell of a lot of standouts at Hearts, but there probably is players that you could put in the same bracket as Naismith, but I've went for him. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. It'd be nice to see both sides of the story. But anyway, that's the best player at Hearts, in my opinion. But that's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. Comment down below all the players that you think are the best players at each individual Premiership club, and I'll reply to you all down below. Subscribe for more of this type of content, and until the next video, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.